After over $40 million in ad spend and over $150 million in e-commerce tracked revenue, I made these 5 huge e-commerce mistakes so you don't have to. In this video, I'm going to be sharing the 5 mistakes that I've made and I see so many other e-com brand owners make as well. And I'm going to be sharing the specifics of these mistakes and giving you the heads up so that you don't have to make the same mistakes I did, so that you can go to your goals faster. Okay? So let's dive into the video. So the first mistake is no diversified customer acquisition strategy. And what this means is relying on maybe 1 or 2 ad platforms, really just one main channel of acquisition. And typically, brands run Meta ads, they run Google ads, and that is really the means for their customer acquisition, right? Now, if you were to expand beyond that and have different ways of acquiring customers, let's just say organic social media, influencer marketing, affiliate marketing, then not only does this create a diversified risk, but it also means that it's going to lower your CPAs as a blended total, because customers are not only seeing you in ads, they're seeing you in other places, and it increases the touch points that you have on your customers, leading they're more likely to make a purchasing decision from you. The second thing is a limited product line. So this is really when you have maybe 1 or 2 products, and that is okay if you want to scale to maybe mid 7 figures. I've even seen brands get to like the high 7-figure range with just 1 or 2 main hero products. And the problem with this is that you are limited in terms of what you can do in multiple ways, right? The first way is your AOV, front-end AOV acquisition. Unless the 1 or 2 products you're selling have a good AOV, it can be hard to increase the AOV, for example, through bundling. If you had multiple different products and you could bundle them together, then you could increase first customer order AOV, which helps you offset some of that rising CPA. The other thing is your LTV, right? Your lifetime value, because by having more products, it means that you have more opportunities to upsell, cross-sell, both within the first purchase flow, but also post-purchase, right, to your email list. And then the third reason is that if you have 1 or 2 products, then maybe you're hitting the ceiling of the market for those products, and expanding into other products just allows you to reach new segments of the market you're already in. And this is a really, really important part of continuing to grow and not being so reliant on your main 1 or 2 products that maybe you started your business with. So number 3, messy financials. And before you get bored and click away from this video, trust me, this is probably the most important one, because without this, it becomes very, very difficult to run a profitable e-commerce brand, right? What are we doing in the first place if we're not, getting profit from an e-com brand, right? So the amount of business owners, the amount of e-commerce brand owners that I've spoke to who do not have clear financial statements. We're talking about the P&L, cash flow statement, the balance sheet. For businesses of all sizes, no matter if you're just starting your e-commerce brand, if you're doing 6 figures, 7 figures, 8 figures, 9 figures, all of these statements are crucial to understanding the financial position of your business, right? Understanding your clear targets for new customer acquisition, right? You need these financial statements to be able to understand how much can we spend to acquire new customers. You need these to understand, are we going to be profitable this month? Are we profitable? Like a lot of e-commerce brand owners as well, they may have these, but they're very reactive to the statements. Whereas if you can be proactive to the statements and try changing things throughout the month before, you wait to the end of the month and realize, okay, we should have done this a few weeks ago, then that's just going to allow you to get ahead of the game. And of course, when you have your financial statements, you can read them and look at them and say, what are some clear ways, some easy ways that we can increase profitability, right? Maybe it's within your COGS, maybe it's within your OPEX. Trust me, when you look at these statements and when you understand how to look at these statements, it becomes very, very easy to try and cut costs in ways that are creating waste. So what most e-commerce brand owners do is that they try to guess where they are, right? They have like a gut feeling of where they are based on like maybe the meta numbers, what they're seeing on Triple Well, but please don't do this. Have clear financial statements that you get on a recurring basis from your accountant, from your finance person on your team, whatever it may be. Please do this. You're gonna save yourself so much in lost profits, right? You're gonna be able to grow a profitable e-commerce brand much sooner, much faster. So my advice is, work with an accounting firm who can do this for you on a monthly basis, or if your business allows for it, have an in-house person who, maybe like a finance director or even like a fractional CFO, because what your accountants will do is they'll do the statements for you, but they won't necessarily give you the advice on how to actually use them. If you have a finance person who knows your business and understands the specifics of the business, then that person can not only get you the financial statements, but also be the one to indicate what you should do with that data and what the opportunities are to maybe lower costs, increase profitability, what changes should we make for the following months, should we place an inventory order now or should we wait another while, right? All these things are really, really important. And if you're working with an agency, if an agency is running your ads, if they're helping you grow your business and they do not have visibility into these statements, especially the P&L, give them visibility into that statement, because you should be using that statement to come up with your new customer acquisition costs from paid ads or whatever it may be, and understanding profitability from that. So number 4 is not getting enough customer feedback, or getting customer feedback and not using it to improve your products or customer experience. So in most cases, when you launch a product for the first time, it is not the best version of that product, right? It's like a V1, right? And then what happens is your customers are going to use the product, they're going to give you feedback on the product, okay? Now, first of all, you need to collect this feedback, right? This is usually done through email surveys, right? You send an email out to customers who purchased the product and making sure they've had enough time to use the product. And then you're getting their feedback. What's good about the product, what do you like, what can be improved? Was it easy to use? Was it easy to follow the instructions? Whatever it may be, right? You want to get detailed feedback from your customers, and if needed, give them an incentive to provide you with this feedback. So that's step one, is to actually collect the feedback in the first place. Step two is to read the feedback, analyze the feedback, create reports, understand, go through it, and use that feedback and put it to good use, because this is like vital information to be able to continue growing. Because even if it's your existing customers who they're already going to purchase from you, that's okay. But what a lot of brands don't understand is that they can use this information to go back and reiterate on the product, create a better version that they can put out into the market to acquire more customers. Because what happens is if your V1, your product is not good, and the word of mouth is negative around that, it's going to be very, very hard to scale with that product, and it's also going to affect your brand and your reputation. Okay, so if you improve the product, if you iterate through the product, your existing customers will be happy because you listen to them, right? But what we're really aiming towards is how do we expand our reach in the market by improving the product and reaching more new customers with that. The fifth and final mistake that e-commerce brand owners make, and that we've made ourselves, is growing too quickly. And this is when the rate at which you're growing is exceeding and outpacing the rate at which you can fulfill orders. And this may seem trivial, right? Because some people say there's no such thing as growing too quickly. You know, you should grow quickly, but trust me, there is, and it can be detrimental to the business. It can put you out of business. It is that critical. So I'm going to go through the issues that the growing too quickly causes, just to highlight and underline this. So the first thing, your shipping times will increase, right? If you are outpacing the rate at which you can fulfill orders, your shipping times are going to increase. What this means is it's a poorer experience for the customers who have just spent money on your product. Maybe the expectation was that they'll receive the product in 3 days, 4 days. Now they're not going to receive it for another week, 2 weeks. It can also have many downstream negative effects. One, bad online reviews, which can be hard to remedy, right? That's going to affect your reputation. It's going to raise your CPAs when customers do research to purchase your products. The second one that most people don't know about is the Facebook page feedback score. Now, this is not your customer-facing Facebook page, right, where customers can leave reviews, like a 5-star rating or whatever. It is the internal score that Meta has for you. So basically what happens, if you didn't know, is that when you run Meta ads, after customers purchase through your Meta ads, Meta obviously knows who those customers are, because they can track attribution, they can track the specific people and profiles that purchased from your store. What they'll do is, based on the delivery time that you've set in the settings in your business manager, they will survey those customers on Facebook and Instagram after that time has passed, and they will ask them a few questions, right? They're going to ask them, what was the delivery time like? What was the customer service like? And what was the product quality like? Did it meet your expectations? Based on the answers to those 3 questions, they're going to create a score for you, okay? So after they've surveyed hundreds and hundreds of customers, and they get this score, you get basically a rating out of 5, right? 5 being the best, 0 being the worst. And this is your Facebook page feedback score. Now, why is this important? Well, if your score lowers to, let's say, 3, 2, 1, then what Meta is going to do is A, they're going to increase your advertising costs, your CPMs, and 2, they're going to show your ads to audiences that are not as high quality as the audiences that would, are more likely to purchase, right? So in effect, you're penalized for having a poor Facebook feedback score. Now, where you want to be is you want to be 4 and above, okay? 4.2, I believe, is the average, right? We've never really seen a page get to 5. I think it's impossible. But 4.2 is where you want to be, or somewhere around, between 4 and 5 is good. So the second issue with growing too quickly is that you constantly run out of stock, right? If your existing customers are repeat purchasing from you and you run out of stock, that is very, very frustrating for your customers. And trust me, no matter how good your products are, some customers will stick around, but most customers will see that you're constantly out of stock. It's causing issues with their repeat purchase rate. They're just going to go somewhere else. On the other hand, running out of stock can halt a lot of momentum on the ad platforms, right? If you're running ads and you constantly have to pause the ads, restart the ads, pause the ads, restart the ads. If you run ads, you know that you shouldn't turn things off that are working, right? You want to keep things running. You want to keep that momentum. So this is going to cause a lot of havoc in that momentum that you just spent a few months building, to then have to pause everything and restart again when you're back in stock. The third issue that growing too quickly causes is that your team just cannot handle the fulfillment, right? Because if you're growing too quickly and you're outpacing your fulfillment, you're also likely outpacing maybe the team that you have in the warehouse, your 3PL capability, which is less likely. If you have a really good 3PL, they're likely to be able to scale. However, a very, very quick increase is still going to throw your 3PL off guard. And what this is going to do is it's going to lead to quality issues in the orders. Again, it may seem trivial, but this happens a lot. Wrong orders that are packed, missing orders, right, that come through and basically just get missed and never sent out. So what this is going to happen is you're going to get an increase in returns, you're going to get an increase in chargebacks, you're going to get an increase in refunds. And that's not only going to cost you financially, but if you're using Stripe, if you're using Shopify, you're very likely using Stripe, other payment processors. They're going to start penalizing you for the amount of chargebacks and refunds that you're getting, okay? So I've seen cases where Stripe accounts have been banned because of this, right? So it can really impact your business. Overnight, you can go from like scaling very, very quickly to then realizing that you can't fulfill all these orders. You're getting a bunch of chargebacks. You're in trouble with Shopify. You're in trouble with Stripe. You're in trouble with Facebook, and it's just a complete mess, okay? So with all this said, what does it mean? It means that you need to handle and control your growth, right? Like, it's funny because I talk to some ecom brands and they're like, we want to grow to like, an 8-figure business in a year. And I'm like, well, hang on a second. Let's talk about your fulfillment. Let's talk about your shipping. Let's talk about your warehouse, 3PL. Let's talk about the logistics here, because we've seen it before. We scale brands too quickly, and then it creates a bunch of downstream issues, and it's detrimental to the brand, and it works in reverse. I'm sure you've heard of the brands, businesses that go, high growth, hyper growth, and then they end up having to like go back down and they lose a lot of money, they're not profitable, and it's just, you wonder why they do that in the first place, right? Whereas if you look at it, maybe more like consistent upturn growth, it's over a longer time period, but it's more sustainable for the long term, okay? Because you're not only scaling your acquisition at a rate that's manageable, that you can maintain efficiency of new customer acquisition, but as we just spoke about, you're also increasing your fulfillment, right? You're increasing the capacity for fulfillment, you're increasing, your amount of customer support reps. There's another thing that people don't think about is like, because you acquire more customers, you're going to get more support tickets. So if you are acquiring double the amount of customers, but you have the same amount of customer service reps, then likely you're going to get, your ticket response time is going to be slower. The amount of tickets that you can remedy and fix is also going to be lower as well. So again, just another issue that it causes. So as I mentioned, handle your growth, right? Again, having clear financial statements helps with this, because you can see where you're currently at and where you're going, right, with your budgets and your forecasts, which you should have as well, by the way. Talking about inventory, talking about, where do we see ourselves going 6 months down the line, based on how much we're spending, based on our CAC, all this stuff, right? So handle your growth, control your growth, get a handle on your growth. And if you're working with an agency and all they want to do is increase the spend and just acquire spend as much as possible, get the best, obviously if it's on target, it's okay. But just know that even if you're spending more and it is on target, you're acquiring customers efficiently, keep in mind these downstream effects that could happen if you're not yet set up for that scale, okay? So this is a video where I wanted to share some things that maybe are not spoken about as often, right? Things that are maybe not so direct in terms of, Facebook ads and landing pages and offers and all that stuff. I wanted to share this because I've seen this happen way too often, and I just want to make sure that, the mistakes that I've made and that I've seen made are things that you can avoid, right? And just save time, save that pain and frustration, because I know what it's like. If you're an ecom brand owner, especially if you're at the 7-figure range and above, you've made one of these mistakes at least. You're probably nodding your head as I've gone through these. So just make sure you don't make the other ones, all right? So that's all for this video. Hopefully this was of value to you, and I'll see you in the next one.